everybody, this is Merulu and welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club. This is part 3 and I'm really sorry that we've been so long in getting part 3 out to you. This is actually the second recording of part 3 because the first part 3 actually got eaten by technical difficulties, as did part 4. So that's no excuse though, so I'm really sorry that this has happened. Also, through all of March and April, I have been going through a lot of life problems. I will quickly explain that I've basically been trying to fight tooth and nail to not be evicted from my apartment. Basically, the birds that I have been having and housing for 4 years have suddenly become a problem for my landlord. He suddenly decided that he didn't want me to have them. Which is ridiculous. I've been living here with them for 4 years and, you know, suddenly they're a problem. As you can hear them suddenly tweeting in the background, which, you know, they usually, whatever, I'm recording in the morning, which I record at night, but anyway. That aside, I've also been going through a divorce. I am no longer with my husband, he's no longer living with me, and I'm living on my own now, so that's kind of scary. Anyway, it's a lot of stress, but enough about me. Let's move on with the game. Last time we were cuddling up with Yuri and we're reading a book with her now, so let's keep going. I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks me if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume she finishes the page before me, so I turn it by my own volition. We continued the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange. My thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to the side as she catches it under her own thumb. Hey, Yuri. This might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. You think so? How does she? Well, maybe, or I guess she's blunt in a lot of ways, but she also second guesses all of the things she says and does. Like she's afraid she'll do something wrong? It's not like I can see into your head or anything, but they're kind of reminiscent of your mannerisms. I see. Yuri remains silent for a moment. But Merulu, that's probably a terrible thing to have in common with her. It's so embarrassing that you think that. Wait, I didn't mean it in a bad way or anything. Sorry, I didn't really know that you were so self-conscious about that kind of thing. I guess I meant it that it's kind of cute. What are you saying all of a sudden? Okay, everyone. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long. Yuri exhales, spared from finishing her thought. Is that all right, Yuri? You look kind of down. I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this. It's not. It's fine. Yuri releases her hand from the book, causing it to close on top of my thumb. All right. I guess I'll do some more reading tonight. Or would you prefer I only read it with you? I guess I don't have too much of a preference either way. In that case, I'll read a little bit more tonight. It'll be more fun to read it with you after it picks up a bit, you know? That's good reasoning. In that case, feel free to finish the first 2 chapters in your own time. Alright. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left off in the book, then slip it back into my bag. By the way, did you remember to write a poem last night? Yeah. My relaxation ends. I can't believe I agreed to do something so embarrassing. I can't really find best inspiration since I've never really done this before. Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a composition notebook. I can already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Who should I show my phone to first? Let's show it to Yuri first. Yuri seems the most experienced, so I should start with her. I can trust her opinion, to be fair. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. What was that? Huh? Did I say that out loud? Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. He's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time, really. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly, then looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri trails off, unable to find an excuse. She traces her finger along the words of the poem, and as if breaking it down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers, and having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick up a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that they both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with patience and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little biased, though. Biased? How? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri is apologizing to herself, to me, or Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Oh, do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if it's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? Ghost under the light. The tendrils of my hair illuminate beneath the amber glow. Bathing. It must be this one, the last remaining streetlight to have withstood the test of time. The last to be replaced by the sickening blue-green hue of the future. I bathe, calm, breathing air of the present but living in the past. The light flickers. I flicker back. Birds! Sorry. I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But you took a long time to read. Well, I just don't read script very often. I was actually thinking your handwriting is pretty. That's a relief. Also, I liked the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short? I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest, since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something like a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Actually, this story isn't about a ghost at all, Merulu. Really? I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you did only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn, putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. That's impressive. It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so... Nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna keep doing my best for you, Merulu. Me too. Who should I show my poem to next? I think Monica. Honestly, the other two are annoying as hell, so Monica. Birds, please. I didn't think this would be a problem. They always wake up and they're so loud. It's my fault for waking them up. I'm sorry, birds. Hi, Merulu. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good, glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you have any suggestions for the club, like new activities, or things we can do better, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Don't worry, Merulu. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know. But it's that sort of barrier we all have to learn to get past soon. This hair needs combing. Yeah, that's true. I hand Monica my poem. Great job, Merulu. I was going, ooh, in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way, it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know that Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism? Unlike Sayori, who likes things simple and direct to describe happiness and sadness, Yuri likes it when readers are left to derive their own meaning out of it. It's very challenging to write like that effectively. Both allowing people to get something out of it just by feel, or letting them deeply analyze all the nuances. It can take years of practice, which I'm assuming Yuri has at this point. I never really asked, though. I'm sure I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things a lot. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. It's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everything else might be a little biased towards their own kind of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to be not very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know? I see. Well, let's read it then. Hole in the wall. It couldn't have been me. See the direction the spackle protrudes? A noisy neighbor? An angry boyfriend? I'll never know. I wasn't home. I peer inside for a clue. No, I can't see. I reel, blind, like a film left out in the sun. But it's too late. My retina's already scorched with a permanent copy of the meaningless image. It's just a little hole. It wasn't too bright. It was too deep, stretching forever into everything. A hole of infinite choices. I realize now that I wasn't looking in. I was looking out, and he, on the other side, was looking in. That actually is kind of creepy to me because I have a fear of, I don't know, it's like a really specific fear, and I don't think it has an actual name, but it's like, I don't like the thought of someone peeking, kind of either around a corner at me or like watching me from somewhere hidden. Through a camera it does set off like a kind of fear, but if the person is like physically close and watching me from somewhere hidden, that is even creepier to me. So if someone was like watching me through a peephole, that is extremely creepy to me, and I can't handle. So if I was to discover someone watching me from like around a corner, like just like peeping around a corner at me and just staring at me, ugh, I don't know why, it creeps me out. So I was looking out and he on the other side was looking in of a hole, that creeps me out. Little note about me. I don't know if that has a specific fear, but like the peeking aspect. So you could, I don't know, this kind of leads into, you know, Merulu is scared of voyeurism, so I don't want to go there. Anyway, let's move on. Where's my mouse? So what do you think? It's very freeform, if that's what you call it. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm not the right person to ask for feedback. That's okay. Yeah, it's the kind of style that's gotten pretty popular nowadays. That is, a lot of poems have been putting emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, it can be really powerful. What was the inspiration behind this one? Well, I'm not sure how to put it. I guess you could say I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems a bit. An epiphany? Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that because it's kind of coming on strongly. Maybe after everyone is better friends with each other. Anyway, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you're writing a poem or a story, your brain gets too fixated on a specific point. If you try so hard to make it perfect, you'll never make any progress. Just force yourself to get something down on paper and tidy it up later. Another way to think about it is this. If you keep your pen on the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and go with the flow. It's actually really good advice. That's my advice for the day. So thanks for listening. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop the video there, and we'll do Sayori and Natsuki in the next video. So anyway, I'll say thanks for watching, and make sure you check out my channel for other videos. And I do have, like I said, I've been saying in the last videos, I do have my social media up now, so you can check out my Twitter. You can check out my Facebook for updates now. I do tend to update my Twitter more often, so if you want to follow me, my Twitter is @MeruluTV. And hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Bye!